Bad Larry.
How many clowns does Spider-Man have to deal with every time he puts on the slick reds and blues? What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bad Larry Kingdom. I'm your host, Bad Larry, and the issue we are reviewing today is The Amazing Spider-Man number 22, with a cast of literal clowns. Some we know of, like the Ringmaster, and some who make their first appearance, like Princess Python. And if you thought Cannonball from the X-Men was the first to use that name, wrong. Old buddy with the bullet head is the OG Cannonball. This is typical Stan Lee writing. No build-up or setup. No, we just toss Spider-Man right into the mix of the enemies and then let the story go from there. How did Spider-Man track these fools? Who knows? We are here now. Spider-Man puts the fear of, well, the spider into the Ringmaster's soul, all in order to put a tracker into his magic hat. My question, why need the tracker? Spider-Man already tracked these fools down without it, and they don't seem to be a real threat. I don't know, they seem too goofy to be scary. Spider-Man bounces, relying on the tracker to keep tabs on these idiots. Another question, what is the range of this tracker? I know it's just a comic strip, but how many of these trackers has Spider-Man deployed already? Is he tracking the tracking of them all? The Ringmaster tries to get the gang to pull the same old caper, and they keep failing at these same old capers. And the crew is not having it. In walks the devil in a red dress, ready to give the boys a new kind of plan. We're listening. I can't confirm that Steve Ditko used Katharine Hepburn as a muse for Python Princess, but the resemblance is a bit uncanny, am I right? The Ringmaster does his best to try and keep the reins of power, but I think his time is up. It's a mutiny! The crew has fired the Ringmaster as leader. Clearly, Python Princess will be their new royalty. Also, as a point of reference, this issue is the Python Princess's first appearance in the Marvel Universe. Of course, the Ringmaster doesn't want to just hand over the keys to his gang that easily. Oh, wow. Not only does the gang fire old boy, they beat him up in the most disrespectful way possible. The gang not only fires the Ringmaster, but forces him to bounce. They don't even want him in the gang anymore. The Python Princess is a cool cucumber or a snake in the grass. She gets the gang to promote the clown as a leader, but come on. Just because someone has the title of leader doesn't mean that person is running the show. She is clearly the one pulling the real strings. Peter Parker is such an intriguing character. He isn't a dork or a geek, but he is a nerd. He keeps himself looking sharp and in style for the time, but he just keeps to himself. He's a bit stoic. He doesn't daydream like a fool, but he keeps his thoughts to himself in a sort of stoic way. Liz Allen is always presented as Flash's girl, but she keeps herself in Peter Parker's eye line too often to be just a jovial or friendly classmate. If you look at this panel of Peter Parker and you're going to evaluate who depicts him better on screen, is it Toby or Andrew? I gave Toby a 90% because I felt he made Peter Parker a bit too dorky and clumsy, which Peter Parker isn't in the comics. I thought Andrew did just a bit better. I gave him a 93% because in Andrew's version, he was cool. He had a cool hairstyle for the time, cool clothing, and he had the confidence that Peter Parker has in the comics. But Andrew was also a bit too emotional as well on screen, which I feel is why I didn't give him a higher score. Boy, Liz Allen is thirsty for Peter Parker. Girl, go get a sip of water. A few issues ago, maybe Peter Parker would have taken up Liz's request and actually walked her home. But he's learning, he knows everything seems to get back to Betty. So he ices out Liz. Good thing too, because he immediately runs into Betty, who also immediately grills him about Dory from last issue. Betty calls herself a jealous, foolish female, and Peter says, "Yep, yes, you are." This dude has no chill. But Peter has that charm, and Betty just can't get enough. This is what I'm saying about how Toby depicted Peter Parker in the movies. Peter was much smoother than the way Toby showed him to be. Wow, a fancy art gallery, and the main picture they show is of a socked foot with just one sexy little toe popping out. Has this foot thing been a fetish since the 1960s? The Masters of Menace, well, they don't call themselves yet, somehow also know of this art gallery, and the clown plans to rob the place of its art. The clown actually has a decent plan. He provides a very improvised distraction while the others steal the art. But this is still a fool's plan. Peter Parker knows, something up. And so does J. Jonah Jameson. The clown is losing the plot. What does Jameson think he was going to do against a dude wearing an entire bullet head helmet? The cannonball knocks his ass out cold, which is realistic. I'm not saying this didn't make me chuckle a little bit. Okay, I feel a little badly since Betty says Jameson is barely breathing. Psych! You all know she overreacts. Why is she even crying? This man isn't even nice to her. Wow. Peter Parker says, quote, "I'm free to go into action," end quote. Being Spider-Man and fighting villains is more appealing to him than comforting his girl Betty Brant. Wow, that's really saying a lot. Plus, Peter, as a nerd, gets to use his tracking gizmo. The boys love their toys. The gizmo has led Spider-Man to the crew. This method of tracking enemies is not typically used. It really disrupts the look of his outfit. Nowadays, with the nanotech, he can do it, but you can't mess up that Spider-Man look. The cops were smart to have packed up the ringmaster trying to pin the gallery heist on him, but since getting booted by his crew, the ringmaster says he's done with crime, but not the outfit. The fit is too fresh. Spider-Man is smart enough in the legal game to know if the cops let this fool walk, he must be innocent. But Spider-Man still tracks Mr. Mustachio from the shadows because old mate is still his only lead. I mean, what else is he going to do all day? There is no honor among thieves. That is the saying. Ringmaster is pissed and looking to get back at his crew. He's going to rob the robbers, then turn his old crew into the cops. Man, haters are going to hate, right? Well, Spider-Man isn't going to let that happen, right? He pulls the old Uno reverse card on the Ringmaster using his own Hypno hat on him. Ringmaster says, "Who's that?" And Spider-Man says, "Well, it's not Tuesday Weld." Well, Tuesday Weld is a pop reference for the time. If this comic was set in 2026, Spider-Man might have said, "Well, it's not Jennifer Lawrence," or something like that. Tuesday Weld was a blonde actress popular in the 1960s who even briefly dated Elvis Presley. This was pretty easy. Ringmaster spills the beans to Spider-Man of where he thinks his old gang is hiding out. Spider-Man should have kept that Hypno hat. It's a super useful tool. Initially, I thought, why the heck is Spider-Man calling to check in on Jameson? Spider-Man should hate that fool. But after a second thought, the point is quite Christian in its simplicity. Love your enemies, forgive them. Spider-Man is leading by example here. A few panels in a comic book, maybe some kid reads it and sees his favorite superhero having kindness to someone that is a thorn in his side. Well, that moves the culture in the right direction. I like it. Spider-Man is on his way to spoil the clown crew while they sit and revel in their success, trying to come up with a new team name while calling the Avengers team name corny. Can you believe this? These literal clowns calling the Avengers corny. Look in the mirror. Am I right? The Python Princess is the only one who names the group a good name, Masters of Menace. They actually love it though. I told you she was the one pulling the main strings of this puppet show. What I love is the Spider-Man spotlight. It's unrealistic, it's campy, but I absolutely adore it. This must feel like a preseason game to Spider-Man. These are just normal carny freaks. This is like Jordan or Kobe showing up to a pickup basketball game. They will just destroy everyone. Spider-Man is too fast, he's too strong, he's too agile for these idiots. Even with a direct hit, there's no power in it. The only downside to this kind of story is that there's no real drama. You never feel like Spider-Man is in any real danger, but it is still fun. You know, I'm a big Georgia Bulldogs football fan. Sometimes the Bulldogs play these teams, like this year, they're going to play a team, Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Yes, that is a real college and a real team. Georgia will inevitably destroy that team by probably 40 or more points, but I'm still going to watch the game. Why? I like to see my team win. I like to see them do cool plays, score touchdowns. The Masters of Menace are like those Western Kentucky Hilltoppers to Spider-Man. The way Python Princess wraps up Spider-Man is so creepy and snake-like. But as a regular human woman, there is zero chance she could really hold Spider-Man at all. It's probably just confusing to Spider-Man. This lady is crazy, he must think. See, Spider-Man is operating from the old conservative style. No fighting or hitting women. But in 2026, women get equal rights and equal lefts. I like that Spider-Man acknowledges that the women in his life are only trouble. That's right, pal. Make sure to tell your good old buddy Human Torch that too. These hoes ain't loyal. Why did Spider-Man leave this hat behind? He could have easily bonked this fool on the head and put him night-night, take the hat and keep it, or just destroy it. But no. And now the ringmaster will get his little hypno hat weapon back. Too dumb. Look, I know I made a whole point about loving your enemies and how Spider-Man is the bigger man, but that's why he's the hero and I'm Bad Larry. I'm laughing at this fool Jameson having to go to the hospital from a cannonball headbutt. Maybe that'll knock some sense into this numbskull, but I doubt it. Betty is just wasting her time here. I mean, it is nice. Uh, she is kind to her boss like this, but she's not. Jameson's not even her family. No one would really do this, support their super rude boss. No, Betty should be living it up while Jameson is laid up. The Princess's plan was a fool's plan. Bringing the whole crew to Spider-Man is like bringing the chickens directly to the fox's mouth. Not smart. Typical coward behavior. Python Princess runs, leaving her team behind to get that ass whooping. The way Cannonball runs at Spider-Man head first, it reminds me of my high school football days. I was a second string quarterback and starting safety. Coach drilled proper tackling form. Make sure we never lead with our heads like this to prevent getting a neck injury. Cannonball is literally doing everything wrong here and gets his little helmet crushed like a Coke can. Silly boy. This is so awkward. Spider-Man doesn't want to get me too'd by these females out here, so he approaches Python Princess with the utmost caution. Why not just web her up to the wall? No touching required. He's thinking she will just give up. Nah, you can't assume anything with these criminal minds. Well, what do skeezy villain women do? They try to use their feminine wiles to try and seduce foolish men. Is Spider-Man a foolish man? A simp that falls under these siren spells? The clown is no fool. He knows a double crossing is coming, so he's gonna double cross the princess first. Meanwhile, Ringmaster comes to and is about to get back into the game. Put me in, coach! Who is this gumshoe sitting on the ringmaster's pad? Just some Jake looking to make a collar. You know, in my process, I read these comics and comment on them as I go. So I don't read ahead. My thoughts and reactions uh, are to this issue are as raw as they come. I stated earlier that maybe Python Princess was inspired by Katharine Hepburn, but the way Spider-Man says, quote, "You're definitely not Sophia Loren," end quote. Well, the way it was said, I had to look up Sophia Loren from 1965, and yes, I think Python Princess definitely was inspired by Sophia Loren. Bet the house on it. Hey, 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 what the heck, princess? No means no, lady. Python Princess tries to unmask Spider Man and then whips out this huge cattle prod. I mean, where the heck was she storing that thing? Sometimes even a fool who is lucky beats the better. In this case, Python Princess is lucky her little zip zap zapper messes up Spider Man's web shooters and he stumbles into the princess's trap. And this is why Python Princess has royalty in her moniker. This must be the biggest Python ever. Where is Conan when you need him? Okay, you know I like to make these cheeky little jokes. You get it? Cheeky? About some of Steve Ditko's choices of angles when he draws Spider Man? But come on, Steve, this one just takes the cake. Or two cakes. The snake is not really a threat to Spider Man either. Not really. Spider Man is clearly too strong and too fast and wrapping this snake up like a Christmas bow. And what does the cowardly princess, the Python princess, do? Run like a little big scaredy cat. I had to catch myself there. Well, this is now a triple cross. Python princess crossed the clown. The clown double crossed the Python princess. And now the ringmaster triple crosses the crown. Point is, lots of crossing going on. The saying goes, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. Ringmaster got too greedy and gets nabbed by 5-0 red-handed. Easiest arrest ever by these cops. And will Python Princess be able to slither her way out of this? Nope. She gets rounded up by Jake along with the rest of her defunct crew. Spider-Man gets those juicy, juicy pics to sell. And if you ever wondered what Spider-Man would look like with pockets, well, here you go. It looks ridiculous, asinine, but ugly. Well, you get the point. And that bump on Jameson's head looks like it only made him a bit more surly. Peter doesn't have to answer to Jameson on his whereabouts. Jameson isn't Peter's daddy. He can go wherever he wants. The nerve of this guy. But Peter is too smooth, whipping out those juicy pics that Jameson wants more than Bad Larry wants you to like this video. See what I did there? Well, Spider-Man and Peter Parker saved the day, but at what cost? A missed dinner with Aunt May. Stan Lee uses a term, quote, on the carpet, end quote. And I've never heard that term before. It basically means Peter is being chewed out by Aunt May. The term comes from the old 1800s when important people, bosses, royals, executives, they would have the fancy carpet in their office or their chambers. And if you're called to the office to be yelled at, well, you'd be standing on a carpet while facing your boss or the king or whoever. Hence the term, he's on the carpet. You learn something new every day from these old comics. On a scale from Jolly Rancher to filet mignon, I give this issue a rating of breakfast burrito. It may not have been your first choice, but it's still yummy and fills you up. In issue number 23, next issue, you'll see the return of the Green Goblin. And in advance, I will say I just love the cover. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you real soon. Peace.